Growing up in my family, we used to play this card game. It was called Mad. It was kind of like Uno, but there was one card that everybody loved. It was called, what? Me worry, you worry. Someone tried to make you draw cards or switch hands with you. You'd throw down that card and it reversed everything. The pressure they tried to put on you went right back to them. Wouldn't it be nice to have a card like that in life? When anxiety hits, when fear shows up, when someone tries to drop bad news on you, you just throw down the card and say, what, me worry, you worry. But most of us don't throw down the card. We pick up the worry card, we carry it, we amplify it. Jesus talked about this in Matthew 6:27. From the International Version, he says, can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? From the King James Version, he said, which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? Can you make yourself taller by stressing out? Can you make yourself live longer by anxiety? Of course not. Worry feels productive, but it produces nothing. Most of what we worry about are things we cannot control, often things that never happen. If you focus on that, your mind becomes a fountain of fear. One negative thought feeds another until you're just drained. But what does it produce? Stress, loss of sleep, health problems, no peace. What if you shifted your focus towards growth, towards discipline, towards becoming better, towards moving closer to God? That becomes a different fountain. It produces strength and clarity, wisdom and peace. A friend of mine is going through a difficult divorce. For months, he feared the worst case scenarios, huge payments, endless court battles, and his life being ruined. He worried about the outcomes he couldn't control, and what did it change? Nothing. Recently, his soon-to-be ex-wife approached him and wanted to settle directly for far less than what he had feared. Months of anxiety added nothing. Here's the lesson. Do the best you can in each moment. Make wise decisions that your future self will thank you for. Act with integrity, and then give the rest to God. You cannot add inches to your height by worrying. You cannot add hours to your life by being anxious. But you can grow in strength. You can grow in faith. You can grow towards God. Control what you can and trust God with the rest.